You've obviously worked with Jonathan before.
Yeah, many times.
How did this particular project sort of come your way? Nemesis is a brand new film, totally different kind of film compared to some of the other stuff you've done together. And how was it sort of pitched to you?
Well, it wasn't pitched. The idea came from a film called Penthouse years ago. Peter Collinson directed it. It was his first film. He went on to do Up the Junction, and then he went on to do another film called The Italian Job.
Yeah. That little film.
Yeah. And well, the Penthouse was his first film, and it struck me that it was unusual at the time, and it was made on what they call a very low budget then.
Yeah.
And although that's probably more than we spent on it today, and that was nearly 50 years ago he made that film. Yeah. And Jonathan knew the film, and I kind of posed it to him, and then forgot about it. And then mentioned it again over dinner a couple of years later, and then mentioned it again about 8 months after that. And we had dinner one night, and he said, "I've got a script for that film that you want to do."
Oh wow, fantastic!
Yeah, he does things like that. Yeah,
it's quite a nice, relaxed way of doing things as well.
Yes,
I presume the business is very different elsewhere.
Yes, it is.
It's quite a nice way of working. To be fair.
Yeah, he's quite amazing. I mean, he'll go off and without telling you anything, and come back and say, "I've got this script, and I think I've got the money." Yeah, things like that. So you've got to admire him for doing that.
No, absolutely. So John Morgan is your character.
Yes.
How would you describe this particular person?
John Morgan's suave. He's a good businessman. In the proper world, had he had a different education, probably he'd be into stocks and shares and things like that, and he'd be very successful. But he's an old gangster, and he lives in Turkey, where in fact I've got a house, so we kind of relate a little bit to it. And he just, in his back of his mind, without telling anybody else at the moment, he doesn't want to do it anymore. He wants to be out of it, and he wants somebody else to take over. And basically, he comes back initially to present a check to a charity that he supports, and he comes back every year to do something like that. And he donates £100,000 or so every time he comes back. Yeah. And he comes back this time to do that, but at the back of it all is to tell people that he's actually retiring.
Okay.
That's it.
He's obviously, the first time we see him, he's in a private jet, so he's obviously worth a few quid.
Yes.
So,
Oh yeah, quite a few, Bob. Yeah. He's in front of me anyway.
So a character like that, you've played similar sort of characters over the years. This is a little bit different, as we said. But how do you prepare to sort of play a character like this? How do you get into the bones of it? And
I just know that I can. I know that when I look in the mirror in the morning and have a shave.
Yeah.
What looks back goes to work for me, and I look, well, yeah, you can do that, and so go off and do it.
Yeah, okay.
That's all an actor has, you know that, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, they've only got what looks back out of the mirror.
Yeah, absolutely. This great film journalist wrote in their review of the film, Billy Murray dominates every scene he's in. He's totally believable as Morgan and clearly relishes playing this kind of character. Not quite sure who would have said that, but would you say that's true? So you relish playing this kind of character? Because you play, as I said, you played similar roles.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, but I've also played loads of different stuff, and I relish playing all the parts that I've ever played. I mean, when I was in Minder, I did 2 Minders and 2 different characters completely. I relished playing both of them. Yeah. I was in Sweeney. I relished playing the Stoppo driver, the policeman in it. Yeah. When I was in The Bill, I played Don Beach, who was charming, got away with murder. Got away with sleeping with colleagues' wives, etc., fitting people up. Yeah. I relish playing all the parts that I've ever played. I was in a series called Rock Follies. I relish playing that. Read Dostoevsky. Tried to educate the girlfriend in it. Yeah. When I was in a two-hander with Helen Mirren, I relished being in that. Yeah. But so yes, I relish playing those parts. Yeah. But you can only relish what you get offered. Yeah. And so I take whatever I get to heart, and I give it all I can.
scene that sticks out for me is the where the car blows up, and I suppose with different words say you look like you really enjoyed filming that, because there's a shot, I think it's the car explodes, you're in the foreground.
Yes.
So,
yeah, Brad Pitt wouldn't do that. You know that, don't you?
Oh, really?
No. I'm not 20 feet away from the car.
No, so how was that filmed? Was it kind of...
Well, it was kind of an accident, and it didn't work the first time we did it, so we had to go back a week later. And me clapping at the end like that is saying, thank God we got that done.
Yeah.
But they kept it in as part and parcel of the character, so it's...
Well, that's what I was going to say. It looked very natural the way that you know, that happened, because with the clapping, I was like...
Well, it was natural. I was pleased to get away with without getting burnt.
Excellent. And obviously, you clearly have a great relationship with working with Jonathan. He's very down to earth, as we all know, and I get on with him very well. What does he bring to the table professionally as a producer? What would you say is his biggest attributes as a filmmaker?
He doesn't put himself... Lots of indie directors and producers today produce movies to play the lead in them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's loads of them. I won't mention anybody, but there are loads of them, all playing the lead or second leads in their movies. Yeah. Jonathan doesn't even want to be in them. We have to fight to get him in as an extra, and just to fill up the table or something like that, as we did at the award scene right at the beginning.
I did notice him.
Yeah, but you have to suggest it to him. No, I don't want to be. I don't want to do that. And it's his enthusiasm and it's his joy at making a movie that impresses everybody.
Mm. He's got clear knowledge of his film knowledge, from what I understand.
Oh yeah, he's
vast.
Yeah, vast.
And particularly horror, from what I understand, what I see and what I read. And that must help as well, because you've obviously been in the business for many years, but his knowledge is as equally as...
Oh yes, yeah. No, and it goes off at a tangent. You mention a movie, and within seconds he knows it.
Yeah,
he knows all about it.
Absolutely. So obviously we just mentioned you've been in the industry now for many decades. You must have seen it all. And
I have, yeah.
Yeah, and it must have changed so much over the years, and I think it's changing it as we speak.
Yeah.
It's a big crossroads, and someone that's embraced everything from TV drama to video games. I want to get your thoughts on what you think about this industry potentially changing again from, not necessarily talking about this kind of film, which is obviously it's targeted to a certain audience, but the bigger theatrical films and that sort of thing, and moving to streaming, because there's a lot of money. I've just driven past a film set down by Sandbanks, which must have 24 lorries there.
Yeah, I know.
So many caravans and a big tent, and it's a Netflix TV series.
Of course. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on the way it's going?
We don't cut corners. We do the best we can with the money we've got, and we get the same kind of quality. For instance, when I first started, I was in a particular film called Performance, which you must know about.
Yeah. Mick
Jagger. Yeah. We all had stand-ins in that. I didn't have a very, very big part, but I had a stand-in. Yeah. That stand-in was costing them money, and it was just so that I didn't have to stand there when they were lighting, or Mick Jagger didn't have to stand there while they were lighting for Mick, and so forth. Today we don't have any stand. We stand in for ourselves. We cut the corners conveniently for ourselves. So they waste a lot of money making these big movies. And a little while ago I was asked about Eastenders, and I just said, you have to admire anybody that does Eastenders, or any of the soaps, Coronation Street, Emmerdale, any of them. Yeah. And they said, why? I said, because the workload is such that you couldn't get people like Pacino or De Niro to do them. You just couldn't get them. They'd want the lines printed on the other person's head. Well, you can't do that with 5 cameras. You just can't do it. No. And when you think that Brando turned up 3 months late for the film that he was doing, and he had to have all the lines on the forehead of the guy that he was working from. Can you imagine him walking into EastEnders and saying, I need 3 weeks to do a bit of rehearsal for this one scene? You can't do it, no.
No, absolutely. And there's so much stuff now you can watch anytime, instantly. You know, the streaming services I'm thinking of particularly. as a television and film actor, do you think the streaming thing is a positive thing, or do you think it's? I mean, there's obviously more work out there, I suppose, and that kind of thing. But do you see it as a positive?
I don't really know much about streaming. Like I don't know much about Twitter. I know about Facebook, but I don't know about Twitter and stuff like that. I've never streamed anything. I'm terribly bored with Netflix at the moment. I've seen everything that Netflix has got to offer over the last year and a half. The joy for me of Netflix is seeing what's on. And you press the button to watch it and you go, and it's like being in a sweet shop. It's very difficult to choose a sweet in a sweet shop if you've got a sweet tooth, and I have. So I go on genre and I can download a comedy, and I'm bored with it in 10 seconds, and I go on to something else. So I've watched for something that it comes up. Watch what you previously watched or something. And I thought, did I watch that? Because I'm bored with Netflix.
There's so much as well.
There's too much.
You find yourself repeating it and that kind of thing. So looking back at your career, as I said, from the 60s onwards, you've been working. And what are your standout moments? It must be a big question, that. But thinking back, what do you still think? Oh, that was great. That's that particular job.
I've done loads, and I've got. When you get a round of applause from the crew, and like I did when I did a thing called Family at War, I got a round of applause. For the scene that I was doing. There are things like that you can't actually duplicate that. You can get it again, but you can't actually. It's a bit like sex. If you could actually imagine sex and have the same kind of evening that you had with that sex, then you wouldn't need to have sex again, would you?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But occasionally you do something that's absolutely amazing that you think you've done very well, and like I did when I did the Sweeney, they put a gun in my mouth. They cut the scene because it was so. They said Mary Whitehouse wouldn't like this. We can't do it. There's been objections to it, but I put my whole into that, my whole being into doing that scene, and I got another round of applause from the crew, but they never showed it. But it's the one thing, it's the one Sweeney that they all remember, Stoppo Driver, number 6. And after I finished that, I did all my own driving in that. And after I finished that, that was the teaser for all the Sweeneys after that.
Wow, fantastic. Yeah. Oh, I'll have to look that up. I've not seen it, but I'll certainly seek it out. And what's next then? So I've looked online, and obviously you've got a credit coming up for the next Shogun film, I presume it's the next one. Which is Renegades, I believe. Is that true? You're in that film? Or
yes, I am. Yeah. John and I have yet to talk about it, but yes. Yeah.
So you've not shot it yet?
Sorry?
You've not shot that yet?
No. I've not shot anything on that. Okay. They've shot some of it, but nothing with me. Okay. It's all the American stuff they've shot.
Good stuff. And what else do we look forward to?
Do you know? I'm not sure. I'm of a certain age where I'm just thankful that I get up in the morning. Absolutely. I'll carry on until I'll probably be like what's his name who died on stage. I'll probably die on set, and they'll keep it in.
Well, good luck with the film. I really enjoy watching you, and I'll continue to do so. And I look forward to looking back at.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much
indeed. Nice to meet you again. Really, really pleased you came down.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
The Eastenders, mate. Everyone round here's got a tall tale to tell about the old gangsters. I've heard them all. The blood, the guts, the glory. To us.
The city we love the most.
In these old stories you used to hear, I don't suppose anyone ever mentioned John Morgan, did they?
It's personal.
I just want people to know who and what you really are.
An Englishman's home is his castle. Your defences are gone, your drawbridge is down. You've been taken over, and you're queen.
Hell must be empty. Because all the devils are here.
Sometimes in life, if you want to catch the bad guy, you have to become the bad guy.
How about that? for happy family.